All right, things come up from time to time, and sometimes we don't get a warning, but we got to deal with the hand that we've been dealt, and those fall under special circumstances. Okay, so here we go. Families have special circumstances every year. We're all in a special circumstance, of course, dealing with COVID. We couldn't have planned this for nothing in the world, and wouldn't have planned it for nothing in the world. But we have things that come up. So let's talk about some of the most common ones. And feel free to send those special circumstances in the chat, and we can definitely discuss excuse me, those as well. So the question, we've had a major medical issue in our house recently. How does that come into play? So glad you asked. While the FAFSA doesn't offer a place to list expenses like this, you want to definitely make sure you notify the financial aid office at your college of the situation in which you have been found. And there is a possibility that they may be able to revise your financial aid award and be able to offer you, some other type of resource. Question, the student staying with us is of no relation. They may not be able to get parent information for the FAFSA. Now what? We still want that student to apply for financial aid, of course. If you are not the legal guardian of the student may want to get in touch with their financial aid office for further instructions. I would say for them to reach out to the financial aid offices of the colleges they have applied for admissions. It may be 2 or 3 that they need to reach out to because they listed them on their FAFSA, explaining the circumstance in which they have been found beyond their control. It could be a situation where they're estranged, of course. It could be due to physical or mental abuse or what have you, but they left home. And we want that student to go ahead and provide information to their college or university regarding that situation because they probably left them off of the FAFSA form. And then the college or university, of course, will make a professional judgment in determining whether or not that student is going to be considered independent versus dependent. And that can vary from school to school. One school may identify a student as being independent, while another may identify that student as being dependent after looking at all of this information. But nevertheless, we want that student to definitely apply for financial aid, leave the parent information off the FAFSA form, let the adults figure it out, and they will notify you as to what category you're going to be placed in. Okay. So we want to pause for Q&A. If you all want to talk about what other special circumstances you may need assistance with, we'll definitely want to help you with that. And what are the other common special circumstances that financial aid offices have seen? I know one in particular, not something that we definitely want to see, but sometimes the parents aren't parents, depending upon whether that student is from a single parent household or what have you, but they could be incarcerated. So of course, the student does not have the ability to get their parents' financial information. So in a situation such as that, same rule applies. Student just complete the student section of the application, reach out to the financial aid office to make them aware of the circumstance or what have you. If there's a marital status change within the course of the year, if it's heaven forbid, if there's a death in the family, and we already talked about medical expenses, those are some things that can definitely take place. My colleagues on the line, do you have anything that you would like to add to that?
I think you've covered the most common circumstances we see.
Okay.
Definitely. The only thing I'll mention is COVID here. So there's, when the family's filling out their FAFSA form, you're looking at, so if you have a upcoming senior, just for an example, so, you'll do your FAFSA perhaps this October, you're using tax information you're using tax information from last year. So sometimes families, especially with COVID right now, have found themselves in a situation where you're thinking, well, I made so much money in 2020, and maybe at the end of 2020 you lost a job, or you've got a situation where there's less income. And so that comes back to the same thing we've already said: communicate with your financial aid office. Fill out your FAFSA form correctly. Don't try and alter anything. Use the data retrieval tool that Sean talked about. That helps with so much. But then communicate with the financial aid office and let them know. Just remember, there's nothing they have not heard. right? They've heard everything. So you're not going to shock them. That's all I can think of, Soretta.
And I don't see anything in the chat, so I think we've covered circumstances, special circumstances pretty good. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sean Henderson to talk about resources. Take it
All right.
away.
Thank you, Soretta. Thank you. Well, we've provided quite a bit of information to you all this evening. And before departing, we wanted to take a moment to provide some actual resources or places that you can go to obtain information related to what we've talked about this evening, as well as some other items related to the financial aid process. First thing we have listed here is the Smart Borrower Calculator that's actually available at cfnc.org. This is a very, very vital tool, or a very good tool, I should say. It allows you to take a moment to actually think about what you want to do as far as career is concerned. And you're able to put in information related to that and get feedback related to potential possible income related to that field of work, as well as put in your loan debt information if you've borrowed student loans as you've been in school. And it just gives you a realistic picture of where you can anticipate being or possibly be at the end of your college career in regards to how much you've borrowed and how much you may potentially make from the field in which you plan to work in. So I think if you were to go there and just kind of play around a bit, you'll find that it's very important, and it does provide some very good information. Next, we have the net price calculator, and we have the site there that you're able to visit. Also, you're able to find net price calculators on the individual college or university websites as well. In a nutshell, what this does, it takes what I like to refer to as the sticker price. It's what the advertised price that you'll see on the materials that you get from the schools, as well as what you'll see on their website. Like I said, I like to call that the sticker price. I imagine going to a dealership and you see the price of the vehicle on the windshield. That's what the upfront sticker advertised price is. However, if you've completed your FAFSA, as we emphasized today, and you've qualified for federal aid, state aid, or even institutional aid, that's going to be subtracted from that cost. And at the end of, once you've subtracted the grants and scholarships, looking at the free money, once you've subtracted the grants and scholarships you've received, that's your net price. So for example, if the school, let's just say $30,000, and you receive a total of grants and scholarships of $15,000. So you're going to subtract that 15 from that $30,000 cost. And at the end of the day, $15,000 is really what you're looking at having to cover through means other than the free money, the grants and scholarships, as I like to call it. So the net price calculator, like I said, if you visit the college website or a site that we have listed here, or go to the individual university websites, you'll find a net price calculator. And it just gives you the ability to play around with it to get an idea of what you're looking at the end of the day, of being potentially your out-of-pocket expense or your end of responsibility related to the cost of attendance, and not just focusing on the sticker price or the published price of what it costs to go to that school for that particular school year. The college scorecard, it's really a way of getting information related to the individual schools that you're looking at. As you're trying to decide the school that you're going to, you want to find that right fit school. And the college scorecard gives you the ability to go out there, and basically it's a one-stop shop. You can put in the various schools that you're interested in and just get a wealth of information related to those schools. It could be the attendance, demographics, graduation rates, how many students participate in internships, how many of them actually secure jobs after graduation, how many of them go on to grad school after graduation, that type of information, which is very important. You don't just want to go to a school for the sake of going in to get a degree. You want to go there to get a very a good experience, overall good experience related to your college life, if you will, or your college experience. So the college scorecard, it gives you the ability, like I said, to a one-stop shop to research as many schools as you want without having to actually go to those campuses or go to the individual sites to try to find out, find answers to questions you may have. The student aid website. It's a good place to go for general financial aid information. It's a federal website, nevertheless, but there's still information out there about other financial aid resources that aren't federally funded. So it's another site that's good to go to just to find out information about general financial aid. Also, you would go here to complete your FAFSA. So it's a very important website in the process. Can't emphasize that enough. You would want to go there, if nothing else, to complete your FAFSA. to get through that particular process. But it's another resource, like I said, for you to go there to cover a lot of the topics that we've talked about today. But there's also information out there about a lot more that we have not talked about today. So I would highly encourage you to go there, to play around, to read up on the information, just to get a general idea of what's out there, because it may be something that you encounter along the way as you're going through your college career. Last but not least, we have the National Student Loan Data System. This is I like to refer to this almost as an individual student's personal account, because you're able to go there. If you've borrowed loans, you'll be able to find information related to those loans that you've borrowed, interest rate, who's your lender, who's the servicer of that particular loan, and when what status is this loan is it in the right status as far as you being enrolled in school, or if you've actually graduated, and are you in your grace period? And like I said, have an idea of when you're looking to go into repayment. Also, if you've received the federal Pell Grant, for example, you're able to go out there and find out details related to that as well. So the National Student Loan Data System, like I said, I kind of look at it as a student's personal account related to their financial aid experience, as far as what they've received in regards to federal loans, federal grants, and things along that line. So all 5 of those are very, very good websites to go to. Like I said, it gives you the ability to do a lot of research right at your fingertips without having to visit the individual websites of the schools to try to get an idea of what's going on. So before we move any further, wanted to see if there are any questions from attendees related to any of the topics we've talked about. So I'm trying to take a moment to look and see if we've gotten any questions in the chat. I'm not seeing anything, but colleagues, please let me know if I'm overlooking it. Don't want to miss anyone's questions if they've asked us something.
Oh, I think we're good. I haven't seen any. Folks are welcome to send them over in the chat box, and also if you want to send it over privately. We understand that some of this stuff can be something you don't want to ask in front of a group. So
Exactly.
feel free to do that, and we'll be here as we kind of close out. So yeah.
Well, we
Thank you.
definitely appreciate you all once again sharing your evening with us. Remember, we are located on many social media sites: Facebook, Twitter. We have a YouTube channel, and we're definitely on Instagram, where we are advertising events such as this all the time. So make sure you stay connected and like us, of course. And we want to thank you for your attention that you've given us this evening as well. We're going to allow you once and again to ask any questions that you may have, or put them in the chat, and we will definitely entertain those for you. And we want to thank you for attending tonight. We really do. I know your evenings are very precious, but we thank you for taking time out to share it with us, at least an hour or so with us. If you have any questions after tonight, feel free to contact us at our toll-free number, 1-866-866-CFNC, which is 2362, or visit us at cfnc.org. And you can also provide us with any questions that you have, and we will promptly get back with you. We're going to stop sharing at this time. And again, thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.